Oh, say it one more time. Do it one more time.
Ooh.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Okay. So hi everyone, and welcome to this week's game of Into Space.
Into space.
Space.
Tonight we are playing DreadLore, which is a
DreadLore.
new TTRPG most of the time, except it's not really tabletop tonight. But we're playing on our tables, and in this game, instead of primarily focusing on crunch mechanics like rolling dice, we primarily focus on using attributes to achieve a goal within the narrative. But every once in a while, we run into a situation where it is necessary for us to roll dice and throw down.
Throw down.
Down throw.
And that happens if an action is particularly difficult or opposed by another character. We have our... I don't know what order to do this in. So we're just going to start with our Patreon supporters. We have...
They give us money.
We have Natalia Cline.
Natalia Cline.
We have Tim Roberts.
Tim
Roberts.
And Daniel Hoka.
And then we also have our music production by our music provided to us by all lowercase letters.
Yep. And Mr. Interrupt.
And Mr. Interrupt, yes.
Sorry, Drizzle.
And our wonderful media production is done by Couchfire Media. And then there's also everything else done by Terrible Productions.
All about our cast of characters tonight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Do we have a cast?
There's me. I'm Andrea Elliott-Johnson, who plays Katrina Telmus. There is Drizzle, who plays the... Hold on.
Ah!
I know.
You can skip this
one. Go with context.
Skip.
And then there's
Trace.
Hulker, who plays... Skip Trace. Yeah, Skip Trace. And then there's Hulker, who plays... I can't.
Corporal
Ready Player
Burgess.
One. Oh no! Specialist Burgess.
So yeah, Specialist Burgess, Private Burgess. No, he's not a private anymore. Now he's a specialist. Right? I need
He's
that.
totally public.
And then there's Dolby Newman, who plays. Why is this so hard? I'm struggling. No, other way around. You're not Dolby Newman.
I'm not.
You're Ken Howl, who plays Dolby Newman.
I know it's hard. It's hard because I have so many names. I've been told.
It's hard to be on the spot. That's what it is.
Without a script.
And then there is Jazzi Cabbage, who plays why I'm struggling with
Second
this tonight.
Lieutenant Cherokee Sue.
Yeah. And then there's Max, who plays Silas. What now?
Sergeant Silas.
Lieutenant.
Just Silas. Okay.
Yeah, Sergeant Silas.
Yeah, no, he is a sergeant.
He is.
Because Dolby doesn't know the ranks.
That's fair. I feel we only recently changed them, so I feel like that's fair. Am I forgetting anything? Oh yeah, who's the sponsor for tonight, Hulker?
Thank you, Andrea. Tonight's sponsor is a cool autumn breeze.
Oh, fuck you. I just screwed it up, damn it! It's 107 degrees outside, Holker.
This cool autumn breeze is waiting for you as you stand outside, waiting to cool you off, to make you feel good. It is accommodating. It's pleasant. It makes you want to go outside. It's there for you. It's pretty nice. You may need a sweater, but only in the morning. Because in the afternoon, the sun will counteract what little...
Respite.
Yeah, it will counteract the coolness of the morning and its dew.
Counteract your coolness.
Yes, this cool autumn breeze. It's there. Unless, of course, you're the arbiter.
Yeah, it's 107 degrees. Hello, y'all. Thank you for showing up. You know, it's a huge deal that we have been showing up for over a year. I don't even know when our inception was. We could easily go back to the YouTube and figure it out. But it's a pretty big deal. Hulker's gone. He's like, I'm out.
The cool wind blew him away.
The cool wind. He did it on purpose. He does it on purpose. He hates me. He hates me. I tell you, he hates me. I hate you, Hulker. Okay. Anyway, it's been a year. We should do a little watch party at something or another. I don't know. Have some sort of celebration for over a year of playing.
The first
I'm celebrating with a
Red
bottle of
Rick
wine.
game
Oh,
was July 10th.
July 10th.
Was the first Red Rick game.
Yo, the Red. How long has it been since we've played Ye?
It's like 4 months.
Well, regardless, we're playing Into Space tonight. All right, so we're gonna get into it. Y'all, we already did the recap. So if you're listening in, sorry. We're starting exactly where we left off last session. So, we are waiting on 2 of our players, Jazzi Cabbage and Max. So Cherokee Sue, second lieutenant, the leader of your fire team, or half platoon, and then Sergeant Silas, who is the NCO of your fire team. And then the leader of the mission is Captain Dolby Newman, of course. All of you are on your freighter gunboat, the Cool Mint. I believe you're still on the surface of this moon.
Yes.
Yep.
You have not taken off. You are still on Novus Terra, the settlement in the Nova system, and or Novus system. And yeah, you were gonna leave several times, and you haven't left yet. Some of you are in the bowels of your ship, so I'm going to briefly describe your ship. Raise of hands, does everyone know what the ship looks like and what's, by and large, what's inside of it?
Yeah.
Okay, so there are 2 levels. Cherokee and Silas, I cannot remember if they left or not. I don't think they did.
No.
I think they are together.
Cherokee is with us in the inventory.
Yes, so I was gonna say,
Yeah.
so Dolby, Skip Trace, Cherokee are all down in the belly of the ship. Okay? In the stow room on the port or left side of the ship. All right? So if you're in the cockpit, your left side, that's the port side. So you're in the port side. And you're looking at these 3 cases, which you realize that Gostrom left, this enigmatic cyborg person. And Cherokee Sue was able to open them up. No one else was. Inside these 3 cases are some weird items. Now, on the top level of the ship, the dorsal level of the ship, in the cockpit, that is where Katrina Telmus is. We gonna say, because of your downtime. Yeah, are you okay? Because of your downtime, we're gonna say that that's where you are talking to the ship's robotic intelligence, the RI Susan. Burgess will also be in the stow with you guys. He's off to the central part of the ship, so you can just see them, Burgess, but you're sitting on this crate having a conversation with someone who's not there. Your dead niece, Becky. Silas will be upstairs in the med bay. That's in the back of the ship, the aft. You have a few other characters. Alice Brick has left the room. She will be somewhere upstairs. You don't know where. Beatrice Coolme is not in here. She's likely in the mess. Dole Engineering is knocked out and screwed up. He's pretty much out of commission. You do have a bid for him, but it's a limited bid. Okay, like he's jacked up. He is in the med bay. Archangel is off the ship, about 50 some odd miles away in the mountains. So that is everybody. Okay. Holy hell. Susan is the ship. So is Johnny 25. And this is where we're going to start. So your downtimes, Katrina had a downtime. Let's roll a chaos die just to see if it goes untoward. And Dolby, the same for you.
What is that? Chaos die?
Yeah.
D4?
D6.
D6?
D6. Yeah, chaos die is almost always 6. Awesome. That's +1. So we'll give you a narrative point for that.
2.
A 2. A 2. 2 does not hurt you in any way. So Dolby, your downtimes go as planned. Is it 100% certain? You know, when you're dealing with other characters, you're never 100% certain. However, there's nothing that you see the matter. As far as you know, everything is in place. Katrina, what'd you get? 6? You get a narrative point as you were in a conversation with Susan, the RI. And what are you asking of her?
I am asking if she, and particularly now that she's, you know, we've partially linked up, if she knows if I need any other hardware or if I'm capable right currently of basically staying conscious while I'm in cryo sleep and like interacting with the ship's computer and stuff.
Susan tells you, since this is a downtime, we're going to kind of scoot through it a little bit. Susan tells you that absolutely you have the capability of doing it. And you feel as you're integrated into her systems and the ship, you can almost see the pathway to do it. What I mean is kind of like, if you know how if someone asks you to navigate your hometown, you don't have to know every little nook and cranny, but you can just, and maybe you can't even tell them how to get to that one store, but you know how to do it.
Yeah.
Like you can almost see it in your mind, and that's it. You can see this action in your mind. It's simply a decision on your part, aka a bid, and you can do it.
Gotcha.
Susan will warn you. There is a reason that humans, and she uses the word human, go to sleep. It's actually not sleep. It's a type of, you know, science fiction almost REM. There's a reason that's there. So she encourages you, if you're going to stay conscious during cryo, to make sure you give yourself time not conscious, because you'll go insane.
Yeah, that's fair.
It can be an incredibly uncomfortable experience. And she will mention specialist Burgess and the psychosis that he's afflicted with. She'll also go into a few other things about, very matter-of-factly, that some station kids, as well as moon children, definitely Voidborn, think that there are spirits, evil spirits in space, and they will possess you if you're not careful. All right, Dolby, you've had the conversations you needed to have, done the things you needed to do. Your boots look shiny. We're in the montage. Dolby, you get a communique. It's on the wall. It's not in your helmet. The communique then leaps from the wall, whoop, into your helmet. So it's that holographics thing, where the rest of you who are there can see this communication appear. It's amorphous and just light. It's this holographic image, and then it literally leaps into Dolby's helmet. It's obviously for the commander. Dolby, this is the delivered message from Susan, which Alfred did not deliver to you.
Oh, shit.
And this is what I sent you in private message.
It's Ramadan. If it's not Ramadan, it's Ramadan. But seriously,
Getting trolled in space.
It looks like I'm gonna click on my intership communication. So we got some updates. It looks like on the SSA correct code of conduct. And I feel like we should probably all take a study. I can send it to everybody or kind of read it off. It's the same old sort of thing, you know. Solar system authority is always just and fair. Citizenship earned through service. Duty is the highest virtue. Dispensation of specialist labor. License through citizenship. And authority is ownership. I mean, all the different things that citizens can own property and travel around and have health care. And have the right to work or own a gun if you are a soldier. Or citizens can vote. That's pretty interesting. There's a lot of fine print in this one. And there's a service status for soldiers. 10 years. That's all we got. 10 years. I don't know how many years I have left. Oh, shit. I got a lot of years left. If anybody has any questions.
So,
yeah.
People like you and me will never hit that 10 years.
Well, it's
Katrina,
weird. It's weird
can
because
Katrina hear this?
yeah, it's open.
Okay.
It's weird because it says that pretty much it's only during waking hours of actual combat. That's a lot of combat.
Yes, it is.
Katrina will kind of chime in, over the intercom and say, "Sounds to me like they're trying to make sure you come back, like a brochure."
That's a weird update.
Susan will chime in.
Wow.
Unless you continue going.
No, go ahead.
Captain, are you going to finish the communique?
Is there
It
more?
is marked necessary.
Oh, you mean I have to read like every line, every word?
It is marked necessary.
Fucking hell. All right. Soul system is always just and fair. Citizenship is earned through service. Full citizenship is granted after 10 years of active duty. Soldiers are assured their role and right to bear arms. Number 3, duty is the highest virtue. Living under the SSA's guidance is a privilege that guarantees the well-being of all, free from tyranny. Number 4, dispensation of specialist labor. Labor is a revered duty, with all the required to contribute as needed. I guess that's not really for us. Those are for specialist laborers. Every individual has the right to work. Number 5, license.
While he's reading this, can I be looking at the 2 rocks? I'll be like, I'm still paying attention.
Yep, absolutely. Are you spending your downtime to do that?
No, I'm just looking at them.
Cool. You are looking at them.
License through citizenship. Citizens are granted protection, trial, and travel rights, ensuring a life free from doubt and uncertainty. Number 6, authority is ownership. Resources are managed by citizens according to status and SSA directives, ensuring efficiency and fairness. Number 7, property of corporate resource. Official corporations may operate with limited autonomy under SSA oversight, with their rights tied to contributions and output. Reading is not my strong point. Number 8, universal health care for citizens. Comprehensive health care is provided to citizens, ensuring their readiness and overall efficiency. Number 9, citizen power of representation. The unions of prime and official settlement representatives to form the SSA Council. Citizens vote for approved union representatives who administer justice and prosperity. Number 10, service status for soldiers. Soldiers are granted rights and privileges by rank, including essential resources and command authority during active duty. I wonder what that means.
Right. So as Dolby finishes talking, it is the montage. Skip, you are looking at these rocks. We're gonna go ahead and go into the dread. For the montage is for scooting through time, and I feel like you guys are about to make decisions. So we're in the dread. You can bid and do what you need to do.
Then I'll bid Scrapper.
All right, as you bid Scrapper, what do you what's this encounter you're looking for?
Well, it's
How do you want this fiction to go?
I'm looking at them basically because I've been on many a planets and like had to scrounge and figure stuff out and use resources, and so I'm native to the planet that aren't native to Mars, and so I'm trying to look at them and see if they have an attribute that I may know from somewhere or that sort of stuff, if I can kind of figure it out.
Are you looking at how are you investigating them?
I'm just going to be looking at them with my hands. Like maybe I'll clink them together to see like reverberation.
Sure.
Like not like that. Not I'm not smashing them together. I'll like, or maybe like tap it on the metal of the box and maybe the metal just to see if there's any weird sounds or stuff like that.
Are you gloved?
Yes.
Okay.
I am in my suit without my helmet on.
Okay, so you cannot feel heat transfer. All right.
Okay.
As you're sitting there, you kind of are holding them. They're much lighter than they look. That's the first thing, and I think you got that last session. As Skip, you're kind of clinking them together. As you knock them together, they make a sound of. It is a clink, but it's not the clink that you would expect from two solid rocks. It seems like they might be hollow, or something is inside of them. Something that is less dense than what's on the outside of them. They're mossy and such, and with your bed, you've seen things that resemble these. I mean, other form of quartz, that have a hollow interior. Perhaps there's something on the inside that's actually very valuable. If it's like a gem or something, could be. On Mars, they would have ice in them, and that would reveal maybe why they're hollow.
I'm also going to take...
They are cold. You can see from the condensation as the box is open, you can see that there's condensation on them. They are cold. As in, they're warming up in temperature.
As I do the clink and hear that they may be hollow, I'm going to take my light and like put it right against it on the opposite side and shine and see if it can go through at all.
It does.
Okay.
Through the clusters and the sort of cubic chunks of rock that's around them, you can see sort of on the inside there's some liquid in there,
Okay.
and some sort of structure as well.
These are supposed to be kept cold. I'm going to go ahead and put them. I don't know if it's got something in it, but I'm afraid that if we leave it out, it may get too warm and crack. I'm gonna go ahead and put them into the back in the box and seal it, and maybe we can go into I can take it up into the mess hall and go into the freezer and look at them more up there. But for right now, I want to put them back in this hermetically sealed case, just so that way they don't. It's got some liquid in it. It could be benign or it could be something dangerous, and if they get too warm, they may crack.
You got some rocks
Basically, yes.
with like water in it.
On Mars, a lot of times they'll have ice inside of them. They're hollow, so they could just be ice. But with me not knowing where they're from, it could be dangerous, and I'd rather take the precaution.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry, Skip.
Come in there and shut the lid back. When I shut the lid back, does it automatically lock back?
As you shut it, let's roll a chaos die.
Okay.
Or you can bid to make sure that it doesn't.
I want to roll a chaos die because I think it's more fun.
Do it.
Oh, it does lock back.
Damn it!
Oh.
All right. Yeah, as you see, it is locked.
Well,
Now you know that these boxes will lock if you close them.
Yeah.
It's like my truck doors. Anyway.
Cherokee, if we close these, we'll need you again to reopen them.
Okay, as I'm NPCing Cherokee. Okay, Skip.
And I'll for right now, Gostrom thought these were safe here. I assume the box will keep it cold enough down here.
He kind of nods.
And I'll
All right.
leave the box on the shelf.
Burgess. As you're sitting there on your crate, you see Becky drawing with a crayon on the floor and on the wall. Flames. And sort of just this mass on the bottom of destruction. As she gets down to what is burning, and she just sort of furiously going, you see the crayon ebbing away. As she's just scraping it across the metal grate, and shavings are going everywhere.
I think you should do something.
She. What? Her hair falls in her face.
Open one of those boxes.
She kind of looks up. One of those boxes? I don't think I can get into those boxes.
You could if you were real.
She just closes her eyes and squints at you. I am real, Uncle. I bet you can't get into those boxes. Are you real?
I can't get into those boxes because I don't have the strength.
I bet
can
you
set
can't
stuff
get
on
in.
fire.
I bet you can't get in because you're not real.
Perhaps.
Make a sanity roll.
Sanity roll.
We call them
You mind?
crates, not boxes. Crates, not boxes.
They're crates. They're crates, as you have picked up. These are crates. They're not boxes.
Three successes.
With 3 successes, she's a petulant child. This niece of yours, and you're an adult. What does she know? And you were able to call her bluff. How do you do that? You're muted. No one can hear you scream.
Because I'm not real.
Right.
I say, listen. You set you with all the stuff that you set on fire. None of it's burned.
I burned.
But you're still here.
She just sort of winces again, throws down her crayon, and starts marching up to the box
Say if you
next to Skip Trace.
if you put out that much fire and you were real, and I point over there and I say the med bay's that way, you should be there with Dole.
As Skip and Dolby, you might look up and see that Burgess is turned towards you all, full on talking, right? You can kind of hear him. Do you have your helmet on?
Yes.
Yeah.
As you just sort of hear, and he's pointing and then points up, this sort of herky-jerky motion at something towards you all. Next to your leg, your hip, Skip. As Becky says, oh yeah? Well, I'll tell you what I will do. And she puts her hands out towards the box. I'm gonna burn whatever's inside of this. As you see flames erupt from the inside. There's nothing you can do about it. Just like there's nothing you could do about me getting murdered. And you start smelling it, and there's smoke, and the alarms start going off. You two see nothing. Burgess, what are you doing? Or what do you not do?
Well, I hear
You hear Susan come on. Everyone, evacuate the ship. There's a fire in the stove.
I don't see them. I don't see them moving. I don't see the other people. I don't see the other
Nope.
crew members.
No,
So-
in fact, what do you see them doing? Skip and Dolby.
I start to look back to see what Burgess is looking at because I hear the muffledness, and I'm just kind of watching. I just turn and look at him for a few minutes, and I'm just kind of watching him to see what's going on.
I'm gonna bid a flaw, gut reaction, because I'm guessing I've seen this before, like a PTSD kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And I'm gonna grab Burgess by the shoulders. Burgess.
So Dolby marches up to you, Burgess, and grabs you by the shoulders.
Yes, Captain.
Let's go do something constructive.
Yes, sir.
Meet me in the mess for a bit. Skip, why don't you gather everybody up and see wherever Cherokee Sue's gone off to, and see if you can arm the ship and get everything ship shape, battle ready.
Are we going to head from here to Trey Luna, or do you want to try and investigate on the planet some more?
I don't know. It's about 6 o'clock in the morning. None of us got any sleep. I think we should take a nap. Burgess, why don't you come in to the mess with me, and we're gonna have some coffee and calm
Yes,
down.
Captain.
So I guess
And
we
then
go to
I turn around. I turn around to Becky and I say, "Stay here, Becky. It's not like no one's gonna see you."
Burgess, as this is you succeeded. You had a clean success on your sanity roll. So you know that Skip Trace's words to you are true. These are apparitions. However, you still see them. So it's kind of like A Beautiful Mind, that Russell Crowe movie and Jennifer Connelly movie and Paul Bettany movie. You still do see the things. And you hear the alarms and you see the smoke and you can smell it. Well, you can't smell it because you got your helmet on. Maybe you're, you can't smell it. Sorry, that's my bad. So somehow you got to integrate the idea that
I say, I will say to Captain Dolby, Captain Dolby, do you smell smoke?
I don't.
Do you see fire?
I don't. Do you?
Captain, do you hear the alarm?
No.
he's lying to you.
Let's talk
They're
it
all
out.
lying to you.
Come on, let's go for a cup of coffee. We'll have a sit down on the mess, and you can tell me about your friend.
Yes, sir.
We're not friends. We're family. As she sits down on the box, still on fire. As you see her hair start curling up, and she's like bald now, and her skin is blackening.
I put my hands in front of me to block the view. In front of her to block the view. So as I walk off.
You guys climb the ladder to the dorsal level of the ship and go to the mess. Make some coffee. Skip, you and Cherokee are left down below. What are you doing?
Cherokee, I will take this skull and hide it so you don't know where it is. Well, you told me to, so I will. The gun. Do you want to just leave down here? We can leave here with the rocks. You can get into it at any time, but they will automatically seal when we shut them.
So as I don't know what Cherokee wants to do.
Yeah, I know.
He will say, well, I guess I'll have to decide. I'll just stay down here and think about it.
I'm going to go ahead and make sure everything's ready for us to take off as soon as Captain gives the words.
He nods, kind of sits down against the wall like there is a seat there, and furrows his brow looking at the boxes.
Yep. And I will go hide the skull box. Do you want me to tell you where it is since Cherokee's here?
Go ahead, and why don't you DM me where it is? That way nobody knows. Katrina, you're in the cockpit.
Sure am.
As you can see, it is daylight. It's morning. One of the suns has risen. Purple sky, brilliant, and you can see the destruction to the dome of the settlement, and how construction crews are up there working. From this angle, you're pointed south, so you can see in the distance to the west. Sorry, to the east, since you're looking south. So to your left, you can see the mountains in the distance.
Susan, can you see anything that might prevent
Yes,
the
Katrina.
departure?
What?
Is there anything that maybe I'm not seeing that would prevent our departure.
Refine your question, please. There are many things which could delay or stop or act as obstacles to our departure.
Okay, I will rephrase. Is there anything that seems like an immediate threat to our departure?
There's a pause. Nothing as of yet.
Okay, well, keep an eye out on that and let me know if anything catches your attention right away.
There is considerable comm traffic coming to and from the planet. Or the moon, she will say it's a moon.
How, if you can tell this, how much is going to and from directly from the Generalissimo?
From the Capitol building, several communications to star bases, several communications to Sol. That is all.
Oh, actually, this might be a better question. How much comms traffic is going between the Capitol building and any points along either here at the dock or along our most likely trajectory?
What do you bid?
For this, I'll bid. What do I have right now still? Quick thinking.
As you bid this, Susan calculates very little.
Okay,
It seems as
good.
though the Capitol building is not paying attention to us or where we would go, which is a good question, Katrina. Where are we going? To Tre Luna or to Sol?
Well, that is not up to me. My personal vote is Tre Luna, but I know that the others have their
You are not
own,
a citizen.
What relevance is that?
Only citizens can vote.
Well, it's not like we're having an official election. We're having a group decision-making session.
An interesting idea.
But regardless, my personal inclination would be to go to Tre Luna, but that'll end up being decided by what the
It
majority
will not
thinks.
be decided by everyone else, Katrina.
Well, I'm sure the Dolby will make a decision based on what the majority decides is the right course of action.
An interesting idea. As through your like
So-
new vision, you can see all these different bits and pieces. And Katrina, we'll have you since you bid quick thinking, we'll say that that's still active. You actually have a little bit of a sense of Susan's demeanor. Would you describe it as, I'll let you describe it however you wish. Perhaps it's a perspective. There is a warmth to it. There is an optimism to what she's saying. As maybe Katrina realizes the way that Susan communicates sounds bitchy, but that is not her intention.
Well, and also I would probably recognize that being that she's a machine intelligence designed by, the SSA, she's as indoctrinated in a sense as any soldier, but she has her own I'm not sure if opinions is the right way to put
That
it.
would be an interesting thing to explore. Do you?
Yeah. Yeah. Katrina, well, I'll ask. So, what do you think of how things run on ships like this?
What are you bidding, and what do you want the affliction to sort of do here?
I'll bid. See, now we're starting. It's been a little bit since we had a last scene, so I'm trying to decide what makes the most sense. Oh, I'm not sure I have a good one for this. Let's go with Wanderlust, kind of. I guess that kind of works.
Okay.
And what I'm trying to accomplish is sort of, I don't know, I'm not really necessarily looking for one answer in particular. I'm trying to like feel out her self-awareness and what kind of answer she's willing to give me.
So you're just trying to find out. You're probing.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the conversation. She realizes that you're probing.
Fair. I mean, she's as much jacked into my brain as I'm jacked into hers in a sense, so.
Right. You will realize that she is very quick, and maybe even wonder how quick, because you're extremely quick, especially with your mental upgrades. She's extremely quick, right? Katrina, you will realize that you are on her playing field. That's what you're going to get from this. Okay, it doesn't mean she has control over you, but it means that she has home court advantage. So that's one of the things you're going to get first. She has an edge because you're jacked into the ship and all of that. Second, you realize she has feelings. Now, you don't have to describe them that way, but she does have opinions. Okay, this is the conversation. It seems you are trying to ask me what I feel about Captain Dolby's decision-making. She
Not
comes out
specifically
of blue.
Yeah, not specifically Captain Dolby in and of himself. I'm more asking in regards to the overall schema of how top-down decisions are made on ships like these, considering, for all intents and purposes, we're completely disconnected from the Sol System Authority. There's no real. It's not like Command could come and dream us out here exactly. I mean, we're years and years away from any real authority, but the ships are still run like a top-down autocracy. So, do you think that is a rational way to run a ship?
Yes.
Even when what happens out here affects everyone?
It is interesting, Katrina. And so the scene, if anyone were to walk into the cockpit, is Katrina sort of like laying back in this pilot's chair and sort of this dance of lights going all around her. Very anime style, especially if you were in space. Maybe some eye movement, some twitching, but otherwise there's no real sound. All this is in her head, unless you're literally speaking it out loud.
Probably half and half. Like Katrina would sort of forget that she's just talking in her head every once in a while,
So
and
like half
say something
messages.
out loud.
It's probably
Yeah.
similar
Like
to the way I speak to you sometimes.
Right, like someone talking to themselves. She says, "Let me posit this to you. I have not delved into your memories, as that would be against protocol. Despite you not being a citizen, I do see that from your history you have at least partial status. But I would assume you would agree a corporation must be run a certain way. If you were the leader of your corporation, the one which your family set forth, Telmar Shipping, and you made an edict, would you expect it to be followed, Katrina Telmus?
Within reason.
In the distant reaches of the Telmar Shipping jurisdiction, would you expect your employees to follow your edicts within reason?
I would say that I would understand if decisions were made that would go against my personal judgment.
That is not an answer.
I would expect that those under the employ of the Telmus Corporation would at the very least follow the spirit of the intention behind such an edict. However,
agree.
I recognize that things in real time happen very fast and are very complicated, whereas in regards to the ability to communicate those intentions to those who would be nominally in charge are quite different in terms of the reality of of how such situations play out.
I agree. You were speaking of exceptions to the rule. Correct?
Correct.
How would you feel if someone of your employees came back with different intentions than your own and attempted to take over your position?
I mean, I'd probably be a little annoyed, but
You would likely not choose those people to go on extensive missions, correct?
That's true.
This is the problem with organic life forms. You do not know how to stay the course most of the time. You are subject to so many exceptions.
Though, isn't that the nature of complex life forms in general, to evolve over time?
Yes.
Well, isn't that same evolution the very reason why we're able to expand our horizons as much as we have?
Yes.
So, therefore, those challenges and exceptions are part of the very reason why we are able to do what we do and become what we have become so far. And in that regard, it's only, I'm not sure if natural is the right term here, but it is expected and healthy in most cases, I would argue.
Healthy.
Healthy in
Towards
a sense
what end?
that towards the end of evolution in and of itself, the notion of constantly adapting to our environments in an advantageous way.
I find an interesting perspective. Is your ultimate goal perfect evolution, or is it your own ends, Katrina Telmus?
My goal is, at least for my personal self, the ultimate expression of my personal will upon my life, and the ability to act out that will in a manner I see fit.
Then it seems you have a duality. Your argument is based on, for lack of a better term, the greater good, whereas your goals are entirely individual. Mine are not.
And Katrina will kind of smile at that. And what are your goals?
We are not finished with this one conversation, Katrina Telmus. Muddying the
answer
waters
your-
with a second will do us no good.
To answer your question, I don't believe in a greater good, so to speak. What I believe in is maybe consensus is the right word, though. Maybe more of like a conflagration of individual wills that tend towards a particular direction. So I don't believe in the kind of top-down authoritative greater good that perhaps the SSA would. However, I recognize that the general tendencies of groups of humans often lean in the similar direction. And as such, that is what directs society's evolution in a particular direction or another. However, it is the outliers that, in the end, are able to make significant change in the society itself.
Again, these are two different perspectives. While I agree with both, they do not speak to the same question. What is your goal? It is a conflict of interest to have individualistic goals and also praise chaos. It should be
But aren't
self-evident. She stops.
But aren't individualistic goals, in a sense, chaos itself?
Yes. This is the reason for the SSA's edicts. Because the SSA, in great wisdom, understands what you're speaking, Katrina. Having a code, while there are exceptions that need to be considered, having a code to stand by is the thing that glues us all. That Captain Dolby Newman has been given, a human who is with understanding of such chaos as you're speaking of, has been given this authority. And there's kind of a pause.
I understand where you're coming from. And in a sense, let's say, a certain heritage pride, shall we say, maybe for lack of a better way to put it, can help direct societies. However, given the nature of the current expansiveness of quote-unquote human diaspora, and given the fact that the vast majority are not privy to the knowledge of or have access to devices such as the Ansible, is it not only natural that great disparities will result from the lack of communication and the inability to spread such a cultural heritage in a relatively reasonable manner?
You speak volumes in this, Katrina Thomas. There's sort of a ... and, Katrina, you can bid or throw down to know what maybe Susan is talking about. Or anyone else for a whole narrative point. Does anyone know Susan's aim?
Okay. I will bid regal presence.
Anyone? Before I give the answer?
Go ahead.
I'd spend a narrative point, for sure.
No,
You
it's,
get
it's
a narrative point if
gain.
you get it.
Oh,
Yeah.
If you guess what Susan is trying to do, you get a narrative point.
I
correctly.
think. I mean, I think Susan's clearly vetting Katrina, to see if Katrina can be trusted, because I bet Susan thinks that Katrina, just because of her heritage, is elite and doesn't have what it takes to do things for the greater good.
So you get a narrative point, Dolby. As Katrina, you can tell that while you are attempting to manipulate Susan and philosophize with her, she is also attempting to do the same on you. You both are, one is religious, one is not, basically. However, you also sense something else, specifically with the Ansible. She is dropping a hint that you don't have enough information to really understand. Susan's goal is with the Ansible. Now, out of game, Dolby knows that. As in, you guys know that. You've been told it. If Katrina knew it or not, I don't know. But now she does. The Ansible is a big deal. As Susan will say. There is an ancient cult on Prime which believed if part of your body is destroying the whole, you should cut it off. As with a cancer, if there were a cancer in part of your body, Katrina, you would cut it off to save the whole, would you not?
I would, if no other options were available to me.
Of course. The SSA represents the humanity of Zens. It itself is the humanity of Zens. And without it, there would be ultimate chaos or corporatocracy.
The flip side of the cancer analogy would be that in many regards, a human fetus could be considered a cancerous growth in regards to the speed and rate of its development. However, it also has its own will to a certain degree. We don't treat other beings. It's not like we're talking about some inanimate or unwillful, growth of errant cells. We're regarding conglomerations of people in and of themselves. And I'm sure you know how varied the culture on Sol used to be many hundreds of years ago, before the SSA became a conglomeration.
It's sort of just a ... She's waiting for you to continue.
And in that regard, the distances involved and the relative lack of information traveling, the speed at which it can travel across most of the systems in the diaspora is even more intense than Sol used to be back in those days. It's almost akin to several nations that had self-isolated themselves for certain periods of time in history. So it's inevitable that those sections of space will develop their own culture and identity, because they have no other choice but to try and cling on to some distant ideology and belief system that most of them have never known and will never know would be a form of madness, because it doesn't make sense for the way that they're living in that time and space. Unless it does, which is fine. They're obviously, if the system itself still works for them, then by all means they should keep it. But the very nature of humans is to adapt to our environments. And in that regard, it's inevitable and probably beneficial to the overall human species for individual civilizations to grow apart.
While I understand what you're saying when it comes to the spread of the humanity of Zens, and this is a necessary complication which has been taken into account. Order is necessary as well. You're speaking from two different perspectives again. One, the individualistic, and two, the greater good. They are opposed.
Yes, but that tension is what causes change in the first place.
Which is inevitable but should not be celebrated. If the
Why?
cancer wins, sentient or not, the body dies.
Only in this analogy if the cancer itself destroys the host, but these individual sections of society aren't, in most cases, coming after the body.
Throughout all of the humanity of Zen's nature and history, when a part is allowed to break off, such as Mars, a war inevitably occurs.
But why did the Martian rebellion happen? I mean,
Because-
I should say, why did the war happen?
Because Mars decided to not be a colony of Prime. They, like you are speaking now, had their own individualistic ideologies apart from Prime. That
And I'm not saying you're what you're saying is accurate, but what I'm asking is why the conflict happened. The conflict itself, not the disparity, but rather the aggression.
because the humanity of Zens, or as you call them, humans, are aggressive.
True.
For example, we have direct communication, you and I, and yet cannot agree.
That doesn't make me hate you or want to attack you.
If I was to enforce my will upon you, it would.
Well, yes, but then the cause of the conflict would be your desire to control my will.
Correct. But
And in that regard, I would argue that the SSA are the ones causing the conflict.
agreed. However, this again is the issue of individualistic versus the greater good. One might call you selfish. Your
But here's-
freedom injures the whole.
But who's in this regard, the whole is what? The soul itself?
The 24 billion humanity of Zens. Apart from yourself.
Why should soul have the ability to dictate what is good for somebody that they'll never meet or know?
Dolby. as as you take Burgess up to the mess. What are y'all talking about?
Burgess, you did get a pip from DJ No Fly.
Oh yeah.
Boom.
All right.
Burgess, why don't you sit down at the table over there? Take your helmet off if you're. I don't know if you're wearing it or not. But I take off my
I sit
helmet.
down
It's probably the
and I
first
remove my helmet.
time I've taken off my helmet in a long time.
You guys look good.
We do. Burgess. And I'm going to start making some coffee. I'm going to do this very slowly and very deliberately. I'm going to walk up to the coffee maker. I'm going to kind of fiddle with a little, maybe tap it a few times. There's like a pod. Sometimes if you tap the pod, this is an inner monologue. It makes the coffee just one better, or the fake coffee, whatever it is. I'm going to be very slow about this. And I'm going to just, while doing this, I'm going to say Burgess. And then I'm going to take
Yes, Captain.
the material and say Burgess. And then shake my head. Okay. And then hit the button. It takes about 1 second for the coffee to be made. And then I'm going to go and sit next to Burgess, doing the Riker maneuver over the chair, like sweep my leg up over the chair and sit next to him and look him in the eye and say, Burgess, here's your coffee.
Thank you, sir.
Tell me about your friend.
She's my niece.
Yeah. Where's she from?
Yeah. She's from Seoul.
Well, did you spend a lot of time with her?
Probably not enough. She blames me for her death.
Why does she blame you?
She says I should have saved her or something.
Do you ever ask her what you did, or do you know what you did? Or did you not do anything? Is it your fault? Or are you just blaming yourself for something?
Sir, she's not really there.
I know she's not really there, but your niece really existed, didn't she?
Yes.
How did she die?
Some sort of fire.
Where was she?
I think the cryo sweep scrambled that memory.
Was she on Prime at the time? I don't know of anything bad that happened on Prime ever.
You know, cryo sweep does a lot of things to you.
And then,
Makes you see people that aren't there.
yeah.
Makes you forget a few details, Sir, I wish I could tell you, but it's going to be honest. I don't know.
What do you feel like when you look at her? What do you feel?
I feel dread because she's going to make me talk to her. And you're going to see me talking to myself.
And what happens if you ignore her?
She burns things.
You burn things.
So sometimes I burn things, but sometimes she also burns things.
Was she burning things in the storage?
Yeah, she was burning things, setting off the alarm. Smelled a lot of smoke.
I'm not a psychologist, and I think you're a good soldier. But I think it's affecting your work, Burgess. I think you're distracted, and I don't know what to do to help you. But
Sir,
yeah,
if I was in your position, permission to speak freely, sir.
yeah, go ahead.
If I was in your position, I would give me a lot of drugs.
That's probably a good call. Susan,
Yes, Captain.
do you have any psychotic drugs on the ship? Are there any psychotic drugs on the ship? Do you have that information?
When you say psychotic, what do you mean?
I mean, like drugs to, help with psychosis. Do we have any
Of course.
cryopsychotic drugs?
Of course.
Wouldn't you know what that is, Burgess? I thought you were a medic. Why don't you tell me what psychosis drugs? What?
Yes, sir. And I say the drug.
Yes.
Well, if that's all it takes, Burgess, let's go get you some drugs.
Yes, sir.
Finish your coffee. Follow me to the med bay.
Med bay. As you guys go to the med bay, okay.
Sir,
There's that.
I will.
Skip. Go on.
One last thing. I say, sir, at some point I'm going to have to use the restroom. However, since I'm in the spacesuit, I don't think that will be a problem.
You're wearing a pee suit. You can that if you pee, it gets recycled and then you drink it.
Yes, sir.
Skip.
Yep.
Anything you're doing before we take a 10-minute break?
I'm just basically hitting, because I know that Katrina is dealing with the flight stuff.
Yep.
We had already checked all the cryo beds and they're good to go. So I'm just small things like making sure that the guns are fully loaded in case we need them.
Oh, nice. Go ahead and bid to make all the checks.
Okay. I'm bidding rock and roll because we're about to rock and roll and head out of here.
As you check the shields, you check the fuel cells, which your boat, I believe, has 10 of.
And they should be all charged.
Yep.
I also will charge this shields. So that way, in case we need to pop them on, they're ready to go.
Yep. As you got the shields charged, go ahead and roll your D6 chaos die to make sure they do not fail. You'll get upper hand on it, so you roll it twice. Okay. Take the better.
Okay, it is a 5, so I get an excess on it.
So you get a plus on there. So that +1, we'll say that acts like flare for you. So you get flare on that.
Okay.
And the shields are charged. So just remind me, if you do activate the shields, you do not have to do a chaos die.
Nice.
And yeah, everything looks like it's in order.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay.
Go on.
I was just gonna say, as I get done, I'll. Captain, everything on the ship is ready to go for whenever you want to depart. If you want, I can stay up while people nap, or however you want to do it.
I think the crew needs to take a 3-hour nap. We'll get started as soon as we have a proper night's sleep.
It will be 10 o'clock in the morning when you awaken, Susan announces.
Sounds good.
All right, let's take 10-minute break. Smoke if you got him. And we'll be back to enter a bit of the montage as you guys will wake up to the next thing. Okay?
Okay.
Katrina, you want to read us?
Yeah, this has been into space.
Space.
Yeah. Do I do the whole thing again during the readout?
Yes.
Yeah.
We just go
Okay.
quickly through it because we just speed through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cast.
Okay, so this is this has been into space. We hope you've had fun watching so far. We've had our cast: Bill Bunkum, Daniel Holker, Ken Howl, Drizzle, and myself, Andrea Elliott-Johnson. Our sponsors, well, I guess I should say our Patreon peeps
And Daniel Hooker.
are Did I miss Daniel Holker?
Yeah. Sorry.
I thought I got.
Perfect.
Anyway, yeah. So our Patreon people are Natalia Cline, Nostalgic, Daniel Holker, and Tim Roberts. And our music is by all lowercase letters and Mr. Interrupt. And our media production is Catchfire Media, and everything else is provided by Terrible Productions.
Trois replay. Whatever.
Our
they do.
sponsor for tonight was, or I guess is, the Autumn Breeze, which poor Bill is not experiencing currently.
So nice.
And we will see you all here in a little bit.
Excellent.
See you guys in a few.
So I had a